No, we're excited about the opportunity in front of us here, a Big Ten opener at Penn State. Got a lot of respect for them as a program. Certainly, there's a handful of guys on their roster that have a lot of familiarity with the Buckeyes, and it's going to be a challenge for us. We know that. Certainly the toughest challenge to date, and our players will be prepared for that and ready to go with full respect for Penn State and what they bring to the table.
Well, Ryan, you're sitting here, not Coach Holtman. What does that change in the game prep? Like, do you have to take on other responsibilities if he's sick for a day?
Well, we right now, not much, to be honest with you, because he's been in regular contact with our staff. We're practice planning as normal, and we're going to have a great practice today, get ourselves ready to have a great one tomorrow, and then leave for Happy Valley after that. So, you know, from a planning standpoint, no. From an on-court standpoint, that'll be our job as assistant coaches to make sure that we have a great practice today and get our team prepared for battle.
I wondered, as a whole, looking at that Duke game, when you have Zed doing what he was doing down low, and EJ kind of doing everything like he kind of has all year, and when you have one of your guards really hitting some shots, and is that the optimal way that this offense will look when you have kind of those, whether it's a different guard, whether it's a different post guy, but getting contributions sort of those three areas of the game, is that the ultimate look for this offense?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, and I think you've seen this even in a short season thus far, is we have a lot of different guys that can step up in different ways, and I think that's going to be our challenge moving forward, is to continue to define ourselves as different guys step up from an offensive standpoint. So I think everybody knows we're going to play through EJ. Zed has certainly established himself in the early going as a real threat down low with his physicality and force that he plays with. And our perimeter guys have, you know, we'd love to have a little bit more consistency, but part of that is lack of experience and lack of familiarity. So we sort of went into this knowing that's going to take a little bit of time, Adam, and we're happy with the progress we're making. We're really excited. I think you're seeing growth in a lot of areas, most especially in the backcourt. And you know, Jamari has given us everything that we wanted out of him. A great floor game. I know he struggled in the first half against Duke the other night, but came back and really battled for us, and it's been a real steady presence for us from a floor leadership standpoint.
It's good to see you up here, Ryan. I'm wondering, you know, there's some cases where you get a win over a team like Duke, and you worry about the mental letdown in the next time out. But since your team lost a tough game to Xavier, lost a really tough game to Florida in the way it ended, you almost think it works in the opposite way for your team right now. Like you saw how the toughness and the physicality and what that brings out in your team, and you can carry that forward now.
Yeah, you hope that, and I think this is what what Coach was thinking with this early schedule it's going to expose you very quickly, and we've been exposed in a variety of ways, positively and negatively. I think you'll take hopefully some great experiences from that Duke game, especially in the second half, that will galvanize us as a unit. I'd like to think that we've learned from some of our mistakes and our errors in the Florida game and the Xavier game, and even some of our early season games. So what I would say is, I think for being the start of December, I think more than other years we've had a variety of experiences as a team in situations that we've sort of had to navigate, whether that be injuries, foul trouble, close games when we maybe didn't expect this such a close game, having leads, the other night being behind. So we've had all kinds of sort of different scenarios that we've had to overcome, and for a young team, you want that. And I think some of our younger guys have grown and have shown growth, and I think you'll continue to see growth in the next few months. And You know, it's allowed some of our older guys to kind of pull the weight early on, and I think they've done a really good job of that.
One of the things I was wondering about is, I'm sure even you guys as coaches have looked at, you know, what the pandemic and some of the super seniors, that extra year of eligibility, what that's provided. The transfer portal's been there, but you just, even with some key guys being out, and we know that, you seem to have all these options. Like, do you guys find that fun to try to, you know, is it Cedric Russell tonight who's going to come in?
Sure.
Is it Michi who's going to come in and play big? Is it Malachi going into the starting rotation? You have all these different options that you can pick and choose from. Is that a hassle or is that fun?
No, it's part of the challenge. It's coaching sometimes can feel like you know, that you're working a Rubik's Cube and you're trying to kind of figure it out as you go, in terms of substitution patterns, in terms of who you're able to bring along at certain times throughout the year, and then what combinations. Obviously, lineup combinations work best for you. So, you know, I think it's all part of the challenge that we'll have this year, good and bad. But the reality is, I think there's a lot of guys on this roster that can help us at specific times throughout the year, and I think you've seen that in a short season already. And you know, Coach has alluded to this. I know after a few of the games, he said, you know, we don't have it figured out in terms of our rotation. And you know, let's not forget, Cedric Russell's first day on campus was the last week in August. So he didn't have the benefit of a summer. And I know he has high expectations, but part of that is understanding it's going to take a little bit of time for a guy like Cedric. And then our freshmen learning, you know, they've been thrown into the fire, and perhaps more this year than in normal years. And we're proud of them, man. They've worked hard. They've been coachable, and like I said, I think they'll reap the benefits of going through some tough times or some ups and downs early on in the season. Later on, as we get into January, February, and March.
Coach, how much are you able to use Jamari as a tool for scouting Penn State? Obviously, you played with him for several years. Do you ask him to do anything like that? And also, what have you seen out of his mindset and approach to this game, if it's differed at all from the last several games?
Sure. I haven't seen anything to this point, and I'm sure it'll be an emotional time for him, a couple days here as he would prepare to go back to a place that he loves and a place that he called home for 4 years. So Jamari's a great kid. Our plan with him is to, let him know that he's got a job to do. And Jamari is focused. He's as focused as any guys we have on the roster. I'm sure he'll have some emotions going through his head and his heart, but at the end of the day, he's got to focus on the task at hand and doing what he needs to do for our team. So does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan, you said that the practice plan is the same, or trying to do the same without Chris. Do you guys know yet if he'll be able to go with you on Sunday and coach, or any indication yet on his?
We anticipate yes.
Okay.
Yes, he's not feeling well, and I think his by choice, he didn't want to be around the team to expose himself to the team today. And I think it's probably, in his best interest to lay low for a minute too.
Did you think, maybe it feels like last year in some ways, or that you maybe have learned from managing COVID, that a coach probably wouldn't want to have taken a day off or anything like that before? Maybe he's more comfortable with it because you had to put these protocols in place last year. Is that fair to say that it's maybe a little bit different approach now? Yeah,
sure. So it's been, I think for all of us in competitive sport in the last year and a half, it's been a challenge. You've got to be prepared for the unexpected, and we've got a great staff in place. Certainly, it's not going to fall on one person, and we work so well together that I know Coach has a lot of confidence in what we're able to do with the team, and we're going to play our role to the best of our ability. But he's doing better, and anticipate him being back.
Ryan, obviously it's the first Big Ten game. It's first Big Ten game in an Ohio State uniform for a lot of guys.
Sure.
But Jamari's been there. He knows what Big Ten basketball is about. What about a guy like Malachi? Like, how do you explain him to him? How do you get him ready for this experience, especially for it being the first time that he played in conference play? How do you get him ready?
Well, there's an intensity when you get into league play, that you can't quantify verbally. It's something that you got to experience. We can show them video and show them film and prepare them, but the reality is, until you get in the arena, until you're on that stage and you feel it, you know, you learn best when you're on the fly like that. So certainly Penn State, they're an older team. They're one of the oldest teams, I believe 7th oldest team in the country. 7 seniors or super seniors. They've got big, strong, mature bodies. So we'll have to be prepared for that. It's going to be a battle. We wouldn't expect anything less. It's going to be, you know, every Big Ten opener is a war, and the 19 after that are too. So, you know, getting him prepared mentally for that would be one thing, but I think getting him out there to experience that, get the feel for what it really is like, and the heightened level of competition. I know he's looking forward to it.
And maybe it depends on the player, but I mean, is it something that you can learn in, say, one game? Because obviously it's one Big Ten game, and then it's back to non-conference game until January. So I mean, is it a one-game thing that you kind of just get it immediately, or does it depend on the player? It's
a process. I think the easy answer would be to tell you that it's different for every guy. We've had guys that sort of picked up on that a little quicker. We remember E.J. Liddell's freshman year, and by middle of January, early February, he was one of our better players. I don't think you could have said that on this date, his freshman year. So being thrown into the fire is a valuable thing, though, and it'll expose you if you're not playing at that level with that intensity. And how quickly you're able to learn that and sort of shift your level, I think that's going to be the big key. And I know Malachi's a real competitor. He's not afraid of the biggest stages at all. His past would prove that to you, and I know he'll do fine. I'm sure there'll be some lessons to learn early on, but he's a quick learner and he's very coachable.
Ryan, you've been with Chris for a long time now, but being the head honcho today or for the next couple days, what's a Ryan Pedon practice run like?
I don't know. I'm going to do the best I can do for our team in my role, and I'm not trying to be someone I'm not. I'm very comfortable in my own skin. I have a job to do as an assistant coach, and today that might mean something different because the boss man's not here, but I know how he'd want practice run, and there's standards that we follow and that we you know, practice on a daily basis, and that'll be our job, not just my job, but our job as coaches and then the leaders of the team to keep the ball moving forward. And there's no days, you can't waste days once you get into the season. So every day is very important. Our preparation today is going to lead us into our final preparations tomorrow, and then ultimately our performance on game night. So you know, it's all very connected in terms of how we view it, and I know our guys aren't going to miss a beat. And we've got a mature team and guys that you know, understand what's expected of them.
Is it fair to say that the Penn State game is bigger because of what happened Tuesday night, that you need to carry that momentum to some degree as opposed to letting things slip away and or thinking too much of yourselves as young players and whatnot?
Sure. It's human nature, you know. I think, you know, it's all around us, the reactions to the Duke game. The reality is, in basketball, you don't have time to enjoy the fruits, and so our players will have to understand that. They know we've got to turn the page and do it very quickly, and the challenge we have in front of us is going to be tough on the road. There's no doubt about it. But you hope, from a coach's standpoint, a viewpoint, that we can carry some momentum that we gained the other night, carry some confidence, you know, some belief in ourselves in tough moments, and hopefully that can help to propel us on to bigger and better things down the road. But the reality is, you got to go out there and prove that every single night. You got to earn that, and there's nothing guaranteed. And that's you know, that's I think our players, the older ones especially, understand that. They know every night you've got to go out and prove yourself, and we're looking forward to the challenge on Sunday night.
I think Jamari told us that Chris ripped up the stat sheet from the other day and said it's in the past. Do you continue to reemphasize that with them, or do you think the message has been received based on what you've seen?
Yeah, it better have been received. We got to turn the page and do it quickly. So a great win, emotional win, but you've got to be able to compartmentalize the wins and the losses and block out the noise, whether that's positive or negative. And the older players know that and understand that, and we'll lean on them to guide the mindset of that locker room, in addition to the things that we're preaching and teaching and emphasizing on a daily basis as coaches. But the good teams understand you've got to pick up and move on very quickly. The great thing about my boss is his mindset, the way he coaches on a daily basis with our team in that locker room. You would have a tough time recognizing if he was teaching during a film session after a win or a loss. And I mean that. Our players would say that. And I think that's a great quality, and it's something that our players hopefully took to heart. And we learned from the good and the bad the other night, and we got to take that and move on.
And different note, but do you value doing this when, I know you talked to us on Zoom weeks ago and stepping in today, I know you have ambitions for yourself and whatnot, a chance to kind of step in front and run practice and things like that. I mean, is this a valuable opportunity for you?
Sure. Yeah, it's different because I've been an assistant coach my whole career. This is year 21 for me, and I've been an assistant coach the entire time. And to be honest with you, on a day-to-day basis, that's all my mind is on, is being the best assistant coach I can be. So I realize maybe things are a little different for all three of us assistants today in coach's absence, but I think you just got to in these moments you focus on the job at hand and what coach wants from you, what my role is and what's needed, and ultimately what's best for our team. What does our team need from us? So he's prepared us well, and he's given all of us responsibility, and we're obviously confident enough in what we're doing and have such a strong belief that I think the train, assuming our leadership is where it needs to be from a player standpoint, the train will keep on rolling.
We'll go one final one with that.
You talked about Penn State's size and their experience. They're not turning teams over like the Penn State teams we've historically seen, especially since you guys have been here. How are they different in that regard, where they're going to put pressure on you, but maybe not? Maybe some of it you have Jamari and they don't. But how is that different?
Yeah, they're definitely, I would say, a little bit different defensively than they have been the last few years. They're very position-based. They don't get as extended as they have in the past. They're very sound. I'll say that. They're very sound. They make you earn everything. They don't give possessions away. They won't give you easy baskets. You've got to earn what you get from an offensive standpoint. But, their head coach came from Purdue, but he's got a background dating back to Butler as well. And I see some of both programs in how they defend. And I know, as well coached as they are, they're going to fight you tooth and nail for every single possession. That hasn't changed. That's been part of the Penn State DNA for as long as we've been here. So we know what to expect. Our older guys have been over there and have experienced some of those games. And we realize no matter where you're going, if you're home or road, once you're playing on this stage in the Big Ten, you've got to bring it every single night. And we're looking forward to the challenge and what lies ahead for our team and continued growth, in the days ahead.
Can I just get one last one?
Yep.
I need the mic.
You're good.
Zed, just what kind of breakthrough was that for him? And I know we're looking closely. Just what does he have to concentrate on a Wednesday, Saturday, 2 games a week basis going forward? He didn't have to get 20 points every game, but to have that kind of an impact on him.
Yeah, it's a great question. And Zed, success he's had is well deserved. It's earned. He's earned that. He's earned that because he's worked hard. You've watched him in those moments, in those games. there's been no question about his effort in those moments. And for Zed, his focus and concentration in terms of what he's doing on a daily basis and his effort, attention to detail. Those are things that will guide his, I believe, will guide his success moving forward. But Zed's had a really positive start to the season. He knows we're all over him about his rebounding. He's got to do a better job rebounding and chasing balls down. But the presence that he's given us, the physicality in the paint, has been impressive. But yeah, guys are going to know about him now too, so they're going to be a little bit different approach for him than it was a year ago, because guys are going to be coming at him even more. And so he'll have to respond to that, but his attention to detail, his focus, and his effort, I think those things are all improved, and he's got to continue to improve in those areas if he's going to maximize the player that he can definitely be.